Today we're going to take a look at Cambria off the pine tree. And guys, you got to improvise to survive. One thing about being in a survival situation, especially in the wintertime, is it's difficult to forage for food. I mean, a lot of food's already gone for the winter and it's cold, but one great source is Cambium, and it's in most of your pine trees. You can get it in other type trees, but we're going to specifically look at pine trees because they're so prolific all across the world. And it's a very simple process, and so I'm just going to show you how to harvest it. Now there's typically this bark that's on the outside, and then on the inside is the wood, the pine wood. But there is a layer, and I'm sure you've seen it if you've ever messed around with pine, if you're cutting pine, there's this kind of a material that's fibrous that runs in between the bark and the hard wood. First you got to get rid of this bark. We're using a pretty large knife because it makes it much easier to get through the bark. If you just do a small area, you're going to be fine to keep this tree alive. If you go all the way around the tree, it could kill the tree. Now you can see this white, it's kind of a fibrous kind of material. This is what we're looking for. So we want to get a nice long strip. If you get down to the hard part where you can't flake this off, you've gotten to the actual wood itself. It's pretty easy just to peel this away. This is what translates the sap up the tree, and this keeps the tree alive. Now we're just going to leave this alone, and then this will heal up, it'll sap over, and then it'll heal, and this tree will just continue. Now here's an area that I cut a few days ago. You can see the sap already starting to form over it, and it's protecting it, and it's just going to build that layer back up. Now when it starts to get to this darker area, that is your wood. This is the cambium on the outside. It is a thin layer, but it's not that difficult to harvest it. And once this sap's over, we'll have some fire tinder. The trees with the long needles are the ones that I've been using, and they seem to be the sweetest. Now the Cambria can be eaten directly. It has kind of a pine flavor to it, but it's not strong. Now here's some cambium that we just kind of peeled off. It didn't take just a couple of seconds to do it. I mean, it's a real easy process. Just be careful not to get down into the wood. There's a couple of pieces in here that I think are wood. One thing they say that's easier to be able to eat this if you let it dry out some, and then you can eat it. You can dry it by the sun, you can dry it near a fire. This can be ground up into a flour, and that's one of the things the early settlers did. They would take this 50% Cambria with wheat flour, mix it up just to extend their flour stores. The Indians actually ground this up and used it just by itself as flour. Up in Scandinavia, they've been using this for thousands of years, being able to harvest this and make pine cakes. So there's a lot of cool things you can do. Actually, if you get it in strips long enough, you can make it into a kind of a pasta, cook it over a stove with a little bit of olive oil. You know, there's just a lot of things you can do with this. Now, it's very high in carbohydrates, it's high in antioxidants, and really they say you can survive on this for months. So if you find yourself out in the woods, hopefully you won't be out there for that long, but this could sustain your life, and it's not bad. Now, a total diet on this, you know, could be a little rough as far as causing constipation and things like that. But it's high in fiber, obviously, And I know the pine needles are high in vitamin C, so I'm sure that there's a lot of vitamin C in this as well. Just a great way to survive. A little tip I just thought I'd bring to you guys, especially right now during the winter months when it could be a lot harder to survive if you're out on the go in a bug out situation, or if you're just lost in the woods. But one thing I'll definitely recommend is you need to try it. It'll surprise you. It's not bad. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Especially with the ones with the and once this sap's over, we'll have some fire tinder. And once this sap's over, we'll have some fire tinder. Look at the sun right there in my face. Nothing like pine sol in the morning.